10 things vanished from American life between 1960 and 1969, and most people under 50 have no idea they ever existed. Some disappeared because technology replaced them. Others faded because culture shifted in ways nobody saw coming. But every single one of them defined what it meant to be American during that decade. And now they're just gone. Phone booths stood on every corner in the 1960s. Not the half-broken shells you might spot in a museum, but actual functioning communication hubs where you could have a private conversation for a dime. You'd close that heavy folding door, shutting out street noise, and suddenly you had your own little office. The booth smelled like metal and old cigarettes. You'd flip through the phone book hanging from a chain, find the number you needed, drop your coins in the slot, and dial. If someone was inside when you needed to make a call, you waited. No texting to say you'd be late. You just stood there checking your watch, hoping they'd wrap it up. Long-distance calls required an operator and a pile of quarters. You'd hear that voice cut in, "Please deposit $1.50 for the next 3 minutes." And you'd frantically shove coins into the slot while trying not to lose your train of thought. Kids used phone booths to call home after school. Businessmen closed deals from them, and teenagers whispered to their girlfriends from the one outside the drugstore. By the end of the decade, they were still everywhere. 20 years later, they'd become extinct. Milk delivery happened before dawn. The milkman drove a truck that hummed quietly through sleeping neighborhoods, and he knew every family on his route. You'd leave empty glass bottles on the porch at night, and by morning they'd been replaced with fresh ones, cold and sweating in their wire carrier. Sometimes there'd be cream, butter, or eggs too if your mom had left a note. The bottles had thick paper caps you'd pop off with your thumb, and underneath a layer of cream floated at the top because nothing was homogenized yet. You'd shake the bottle to mix it, or if you were sneaky, you'd pour off that cream for your cereal. Nobody locked their doors, and nobody worried about a stranger walking up to the house at 5 in the morning. The milkman was part of the neighborhood fabric, same as the mailman or the guy who read the electric meter. When supermarkets started staying open later and offering cheaper prices, the daily milk route stopped making sense. Families started buying gallon jugs once a week instead of glass bottles every morning. The trucks disappeared first, then the bottles, then the memory of ever needing either. TV Guide was essential reading. The magazine hit mailboxes every week, thin as a comic book, but packed with the entire television schedule for every channel in your area. You'd flip through it on Sunday, circling shows you wanted to watch, because there was no DVR, no streaming, no second chance. If you missed Bonanza on Sunday night, you missed it forever. Families planned their weeks around the TV schedule. Dinner had to be done by 7:30 because the Andy Griffith Show started at 8, and nobody talked during the opening credits. TV Guide didn't just list programs. It had interviews, behind-the-scenes photos, and gossip about stars that felt scandalous, even though it was tame by modern standards. You'd read about what Lucille Ball said at some award show, or which actor was joining a new Western series. The magazine cost 15 cents, and nearly every household subscribed. Losing your TV Guide for the week was a legitimate crisis. You'd have to actually turn on the television and flip through channels, hoping to stumble onto something good, which felt barbaric. When cable arrived and channel options exploded beyond what a pocket-sized magazine could track, TV Guide tried to adapt, but the need it filled, that desperate requirement to know what was on and when, dissolved the moment technology gave us program guides built into the television itself. S&H green stamps turned grocery shopping into a game. Cashiers handed you stamps based on how much you spent, and you'd take them home, lick them, and stick them into little booklets. It sounds ridiculous now, but people were obsessed. You'd save up books of them, then head to the redemption center and trade them for toasters, lamps, or kitchen gadgets. Some families treated it like a second job, strategizing which stores gave the most stamps per dollar. The whole system was designed to build loyalty, and it worked. Stores that offered green stamps saw lines out the door while competitors scrambled to launch their own versions. Blue chip stamps, top value, plaid stamps, they all tried. But S&H was the king. At its peak in the mid-60s, the company printed more stamps than the U.S. Postal Service printed actual postage. That's not a typo. More stamps. The redemption centers were like treasure houses for housewives. You'd walk in with your filled booklets, browse shelves stacked with merchandise, and leave with something you'd earned just by buying groceries. It felt rewarding in a way that modern credit card points never will. When discount stores undercut prices and made the stamps seem pointless, the whole system collapsed. Nobody wanted to lick stamps for a blender they could buy cheaper at Kmart. In 1956, the first transatlantic telephone cable went live. Before that, overseas calls were routed through radio signals, scratchy and unreliable. The new cable stretched across the ocean floor, connecting North America to Europe with clarity people didn't think possible. Calling London wasn't cheap. A 3-minute call could cost $12, which was serious money. But hearing a voice from across the ocean without static, without delay, felt like touching the future. Families used it sparingly, mostly for emergencies or monumental news. Grandma's not doing well. The baby was born. We made it safely. The cable didn't just carry voices. It carried the feeling that the world was shrinking, that distances weren't as absolute as they used to be. Poodle skirts defined teenage fashion in the 50s. They were wide, they were bright, and they had applique designs, usually a poodle stitched right onto the fabric. Girls wore them to sock hops, school dances, and anywhere they wanted to twirl. Underneath, layers of crinolines made the skirts stand out like bells. Walking through doorways required strategy. The look was wholesome, fun, and completely of its time. Paired with saddle shoes and a ponytail tied with a ribbon, it was the uniform of the all-American girl. You either had one or you wanted one. Boys had their own uniform. Blue jeans, white t-shirt, leather jacket if you were trying to look tough. James Dean made it iconic, and suddenly every teenage boy in America wanted to look like they didn't care, even though they absolutely did. The Fuller Brush Man was a fixture of American life. He'd show up at your door with a sample case full of brushes for every conceivable purpose. Hair brushes, toilet brushes, brooms, scrubbers, you name it. He'd demonstrate each one, let you try it, and somehow convince your mom she needed a vegetable brush. she didn't know existed 5 minutes earlier. It wasn't high pressure. It was friendly, conversational, almost neighborly. Some families bought from the same Fuller Brush man for decades. When he retired, it felt like losing a friend. Door-to-door sales were everywhere. Avon ladies sold cosmetics. Electrolux reps hauled vacuums up your front steps for live demonstrations. Encyclopedia Britannica salesmen painted visions of your children's futures, all hinging on whether you signed the contract today. It was intrusive by modern standards, but back then, it was commerce. You didn't browse online. Someone brought the store to you. Polaroid cameras hit the market in 1948, but they really took off in the 50s. You took a photo, waited 60 seconds, and peeled apart the print to reveal the image. It was magic. No darkroom, no waiting days for prints to come back from the developer. Instant photography changed how people captured moments. Birthday parties, family gatherings, vacations. Suddenly, you could see the photo before the cake was even finished. The prints had a distinctive look, slightly faded, with that white border everyone recognizes. They were fragile, prone to curling and discoloration, but they were yours immediately. You could hold a moment in your hand while it was still happening. The 50s weren't perfect. Segregation was still the law in much of the country. Women faced limited career options and social expectations that felt suffocating. Conformity was prized, and stepping outside the lines carried real consequences. But the decade also carried a sense of optimism, a belief that tomorrow would be better than today. Families were building lives, buying homes, raising children in a world that felt stable even when it wasn't. The memories that stick aren't about perfection. They're about the rhythms of daily life, the textures and smells and sounds that made the 1950s feel like home. Those things didn't just disappear because something better came along. They vanished because the entire framework of American life got rebuilt. We traded phone booths for devices in our pockets, milk deliveries for 24-hour supermarkets, and green stamps for algorithms that track every purchase. We gained convenience and lost rituals. The 60s marked the last moment when life moved at a pace you could actually feel, when waiting was normal and instant gratification wasn't even a concept. Kids today will never know what it felt like to circle a show and TV guide, to hear glass bottles clinking on the porch at dawn, or to peel apart a Polaroid and watch an image slowly appear like a magic trick. Those textures are gone. The Fuller Brush man isn't coming back. Neither are the redemption centers or the transatlantic calls that cost a week's groceries. What we lost wasn't just objects or services. It was a version of America that believed in face-to-face transactions, in earning rewards through patience, in technology that served people instead of replacing them. You can't recreate that world, and maybe you wouldn't want to, but recognizing what disappeared helps you understand what we became. The 60s closed the door on a simpler America, and nobody at the time realized they'd never get back through.